Good evening everybody, it's Charlie and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Hope everyone's had a great start to the week so far. I just thought I'd jump on. Obviously usually I would do a final say, just to give my final thoughts on the game the day before. I feel like everything I said about the game I actually said yesterday, and obviously it sounds daft because we're on the back of a 2-0 defeat to that lot across the Pennines. But I feel like there's more important stuff that we need to be discussing at the minute, and that is the managerial hunt. So just before we get started, please smash that like button, please subscribe, share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section as you always do, and we'll get into it then. So obviously today's been a bit of a mixture of emotions really. Obviously we had the news last night, or pretty much pre-game actually, before the scum game yesterday, that Alfred Schreuder, formerly of Ajax up until about 3 weeks ago, where he was sacked, ran out the door basically by the Ajax faithful. He was at the game. Now, he actually came out of nowhere on Saturday night with Sky Bet, and he was the favourite to take the job. It was a name that kind of, as I said, came out of nowhere, and I'll be honest, I'd never heard the name previously, just like I'd never heard of Iraola or Slot or Gallardo or anyone like that. So obviously I researched him, I looked at his record, and I thought, wow, that is dreadful. Why are we going for someone like this? It just felt very panicky. And then obviously when it was confirmed after the game yesterday by Adam Pope that he was at the game, alarm bells just started ringing for me, for you who's watching, for all Leeds United fans. And it just felt like he was going to be given the job. I said last night, why be at the game if you've not either got it or nailed on to get it. Then there were people that saying, is a mate of Ten Hag's, maybe he's just there just watching the game, and you're like, yeah, but why would you, like, if it were the Manchester Derby, or if it were the Carabao Cup final, for example, then yeah, he's a mate of Ten Hag's, he's at the game, supporting him, whatever. But he chose to come to Ellen Road to watch Leeds play Man United the day after he's the favourite on Sky Bet to take the job. It just didn't, it did add up in my head, and I don't think I've ever quite seen Twitter, Leeds United Twitter, other than maybe Badgegate a few seasons ago, where they were going to make that awful badge. I've never seen such a negative response to something to do with Leeds other than Badgegate. And I'll be honest, it took a while for me to kind of process what my opinion was, because I was reading so many different things. I was reading a few articles. I had another look at his record, maybe, just to try and find some level of positivity about it, because I was thinking, if this guy's getting appointed, we'll need to get behind him, no matter what we all think, because there's not a right lot else we can do. So I'm seeing all this stuff written, and people atting Radrizzani saying, do not effing employ this guy. F off this, F off that, and you're just thinking, what? Like, is he really that bad? But when you look at it, he had one good spell at Club Brugge for a few months before he got the Ajax job. But other than that, he's done nothing. He's had an awful record wherever he's been. Took Ajax from top of the league, one of their best squads that they've had in years, and they were fifth, which you might look at it and go, yeah, they're still fifth, but for a club like Ajax, I know it's the Dutch league, but they should be top of that league. And to take them to fifth falling out with players, press conferences. He was saying the wrong things. Fans hated him. You've all seen those photos, haven't you, on Twitter of the Ajax fans holding up banners. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, and I don't know what exactly it was said, but get the F out our club, all this sort of stuff, and you're just thinking, what? Like, why are we going for this guy? Like, surely not. Surely this is just a ploy to get someone else in. I don't know. But then obviously, even this morning, or in fact last night, Phil here, shared a story. Alfred Schreuder, they're in serious contention to take over, and I was thinking, oh my God, I got to the point, and I think a lot of people did, where I was thinking, if you're going to give it to this guy, you might as well just give it to Skabala about end of season and then just get someone in, regardless of if we go down or not. Just give it to Skabala. But then, I think Radrazani or Kinnear, whoever it was, probably saw the outrageous backlash that it got, and they performed a massive U-turn. Phil here shared a story advising that basically he was sent back to Holland, and they've told him that he's now no longer in contention. Fabrizio Romano shared it as well, saying that it was never close, which for me is a load of rubbish. Why would Phil here, who's more connected to the club than Fabrizio, say he's in serious contention last night, and then this afternoon he's not all of a sudden? It's because Radrazani and Orta and the hierarchy at Leeds have looked at the Twitter outrage, the Facebook, Instagram, wherever you get your Leeds news, it was all negative. They will have seen that and they'll have thought, this is really not worth it. If they'd have appointed him, I don't know what the response would have been. You saw the response just from him being linked. Never mind if he actually got the job and it was official. Could you imagine if he'd have got the job and then Everton beat us on Saturday? Could you imagine? Which I'm not saying that we'll win that game if we don't have him. But if he came in and we lost it, wow. I could only imagine what the response would have been. Leeds Twitter would not have been a great place to be on Saturday night if that happened, believe me. And then, out of nowhere now, we move on to Nuno Espirito Santo, who is now the new favourite with the bookies with Sky Bet to take over at Leeds United. Now, it's not been made official from the likes of Phil Hay, Adam Pope, Joe Donahue, Fabrizio Romano. Nobody of any real ilk has shared the news, but he is the new favourite on the bookies. I don't know what to make of that, in all honesty. Obviously, I did tweet out earlier saying that I wouldn't mind it, and to be honest, I don't think I would mind it. But it just feels like a bit of a underwhelming appointment based on the fact we've been linked with Andoni Iraola at Vallecano, Arne Slot at Feyenoord. Two coaches there who play really good football. There's Gallardo, who said that he'd maybe be interested, but only in the summer, and I can understand that. Any top quality manager is going to look at Leeds at the minute, see that we're a point above the relegation zone. Now, at the time of recording this, Liverpool and Everton have not played each other. Let's hope Liverpool can actually get a win tonight, because that would do us a massive favour, especially going into Saturday, because if Everton win this and they're on a high going into that game on Saturday, Goodison Park will be roaring. I can just see us getting beat if that happens. Let them get beat tonight, knock them down a peg after they beat Arsenal, and then it'll be a more interesting game, I think. But yeah, I think the way it's going at the minute, you're probably going to see Skabala take charge against Everton, which is not ideal for me. Yeah, he's done a very good job over the last two games against Man United. Got a point out of two games, which is more than we all thought we'd get against that lot. Twice in a week. But I just think whoever it is, even if it is Scabala, I think either Scabala till end of season, Nuno or whoever else is linked, and that's it really. Like I know it sounds like an obvious thing, but obviously when Schreuder was even linked, I were even saying, look, even if it's him, just make a decision. It's either him, another one, or just give it Scabala. I feel like they're panicking massively, and the timing of it as well. Now, don't get me wrong, we all wanted Marsh gone, and it's ironic that he's being linked with Southampton, and apparently talks are progressing well with him and Southampton. Apparently, they looked at what he did with us to keep us up, and are encouraged by it, even though someone rightly said, when he took over from Bielsa's Leeds, we were 16th, we finished 17th. We actually dropped into the bottom three. We're in the bottom three on the final day of the season before we beat Brentford. I still don't think he would turn Southampton's fortunes around. I could be wrong, but it'd just be so ironic if he takes that job and then beats us at Ellen Road in a few weeks. But anyway, I don't even want to think about that right now. I just want us to take care of business. And the fact that Southampton, whether it's Marsh or someone else, are closer to an appointment than us. They sacked their manager on Sunday, yesterday. We sacked our manager a week ago, and we're not any closer. It's a shame about Iraola, because I think he really wanted to come. But it's really complicated over there in Spain with the laws and the rules, and he'll have to pay his own clause. But even if Leeds offered to pay it, there still could be complications. It's just a bit of a weird one. Given the circumstances, would I take Nuno? Yes, I would. He's obviously not my first choice out of the candidates that we've heard of so far. But he's got Premier League experience. People will judge him based on what happened at Tottenham. I just don't think that was the right move for him, in all honesty. He had a really good time at Wolves up until maybe the last season where it kind of faded out. But he was there quite a few years in the Championship and the Premier League, and he did really, really well. Hopefully he's changed his style from the 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. I don't think that formation would work at Leeds. I could be wrong. But I do think he is capable of keeping us up at least, even if it's just a short-term deal until end of season. I do think I'd be more confident. I'd be more confident with him than Schreuder, 100%. And anyone that says they'd have Schreuder over Nuno is lying to themselves, because that Schreuder's got an awful history, whereas Nuno has actually got credit in the bank for the majority of his time in England. For the majority, even at Spurs, it started off okay. It just tailed off, didn't it, towards the end? But I think as a short-term fix, it could work. Long-term, I'm not so sure. I think they would review it in the summer. If we just kept us up at 17th, I think they'd get rid. If we actually started to climb up the league and we started getting somewhere, then we could offer him a new deal. You know, there's all these things could happen. But I would take results over performances at the moment. I don't care if it's not the greatest football to watch. If we're getting results, we won't care, will we? Let's be honest. And I just think this managerial hunt is the most frustrating thing ever. When it happened last Monday, when Marsh got sacked, I was excited. I was encouraged. I was thinking, right, surely they've got someone lined up. Even if it takes a week, even if Scabala needs to be in charge for both Man United games, we'll have a new face in by today to prepare for Everton and Southampton, and obviously all the other games as well. But that's not happened yet. Been binned off by Slot, binned off by Gallardo. Alpha Schreuder's been in contention and now he ain't. Iraola's still a bit of a weird one. Nuno linked, Benitez. You know, there's no real concrete links other than Iraola, really. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that now they would take Nuno. Maybe it was a ploy by Rads, maybe Nuno's lined up and they just put Schreuder out there so that fans wouldn't be as bothered about Nuno because he's not the first choice. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. It's just something that I saw on Twitter earlier and it did make me think. But to conclude, I don't know what to make of this hunt at the minute for a new manager. I probably would take Nuno under the circumstances. I can't lie. But Iraola would definitely be my choice. Who knows? Hopefully we hear something over the coming days, guys. Obviously, there'll be no uploads tomorrow. Obviously, it is Valentine's Day. I've got plans with the missus. We will be back with content towards the end of the week as we gear up for a massive clash at Goodison Park against Everton at the weekend. But if you've enjoyed this one, guys, please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.